Main focus of the task in this training is as follows. Make sure to be familiar with the user manual. Set the cut-in and cut-out value of the dual pressure controller accurately according to the requirement. Set the cut-in and cut-out value of the temperature controller accurately according to the requirement. Conduct the factory reset before using the temperature controller. Check if the value of the temperature controller is identical to the room temperature. Please check the preparations and tools for this training.
제작이 완료된 표준 냉동장치 등이 필요합니다.
These are precautions. The temperature controller and the pressure switch must be set and verified before the initial operation. After setting the pressure controller, fix it with a locker so that the value does not get changed. When setting devices, make sure not to damage them. The sensor wires of the temperature controller should be used in the original state. But if the extension is inevitably needed, shielded wires must be used according to the requirements of the respective manufacturers. To prevent noise and inductive voltage, the sensor wires of the temperature controller must be separated from the power, the motor, and the load lines, as well as must be protected by conduits. Keep the temperature controller away from any device which emits the high-frequency noise. Check the manufacturer's manual because how to set and use the pressure switch and the temperature controller vary.
매뉴얼을 확인합니다.
Please check what you are going to perform on this task. What is a pressure controller? A pressure controller is a safety controller that is designed to open or close the contacting points in the electrical circuit depending on the set pressure. The pressure switch controlled by the operator now is one unit of a pressure switch that consists of one high pressure switch and one low pressure switch. Differences of the operating pressure between the high and low pressure controller, that is, deviation, refers to a pressure difference between the cut-in and the cut-out. The pressure can be controlled more accurately if the deviation value gets smaller. However, if the deviation value is too small, the compressor will frequently repeat, stop, and run, which may cause several problems such as shortening the life of the compressor, causing some noises, and increasing the operational cost. So, make sure to set the value above a certain level. The worker is now adjusting cut-in and cut-out of the low-pressure controller. The cut-in driven by the machine on the left is 4 bar to the right, and the difference is set to 3 to match the cut-out 1 bar when the machine is standing. After setting the values, fix the top surface with a steel plate. Whether there is a steel plate varies depending on the manufacturer. For the high-pressure switch, if the cutout value is set to 20 bar, the cut-in value is set to 16 bar after subtracting the difference of 4 bar which had been designated when produced. After completing setting, fix the top surface with the steel plate. This is a system design specifications for the worker to follow. The high-pressure controller should cut out the system when the condensing temperature reaches 65 degrees Celsius. The high-pressure controller should cut in the system when it gets 10 K lower than the static pressure. The low-pressure controller should cut off when it gets 5 K lower than the designated saturated suction temperature, SST, and should cut in at minus 10 degrees Celsius saturated suction temperature, SST. Setting the high and low pressure controller on the refrigeration system. Using a driver, set the desired pressure with the high pressure adjusting screw located on the right at the upper part of the controller. When setting it, there is no need to adjust the differential pressure. Control the low pressure block switch. When setting the low pressure controller, set the cut-in pressure with the adjusting screw located on the right at the upper part of the controller. After the cutout pressure is set, adjust the differential pressure with the adjusting screw located on the left. Set the fan control switch located on the right. What is a condenser fan control switch? A device that detects high and low of the high pressure and periodically starts and stops the condenser fan to maintain a constant range of the condensation pressure of the refrigerant. If the pressure of the high pressure is higher than the cut-in pressure value, the condenser fan will operate, and if it is lower than the cutout pressure value, the condenser fan will stop working. Do not operate the refrigeration system without setting the pressure switch for safety. Therefore, the pressure switch is a device that controls the operation of the refrigeration system according to the pressure of the refrigerant, which acts as an important safety device when the refrigeration system is under abnormally high pressure or low pressure rather than normal operation. Before supplying the power to a multifunctional digital temperature controller, use a digital multimeter to measure voltage. Measure AC voltage after setting the multimeter to ACV. The AC voltage does not have any polarity, no need to distinguish the direction of the red-colored lead and black-colored lead. A temperature controller is used to maintain the constant temperature required by the refrigeration system within the desired deviation. When adjusting the set temperature required for the temperature controller, if the temperature deviation is set too small, the temperature control switch turns on and off repeatedly with almost no time interval, which is called short cycling. It must be noticed that short cycling strains the compressor and refrigeration system. To operate the system in order, it needs a regular time interval, and the temperature deviation should be set correctly for smooth operation. If the temperature deviation is large, the refrigeration system will stop at a long time interval because the temperature control range is large. And if the temperature deviation is small, the system stops at a short time interval with a small temperature control range. The refrigeration system in the video must not be operated or stopped by the temperature controller because the capacity control valve is installed to maintain the suction pressure constant. And the system maintains the ice temperature of the ice rink at a constant temperature proportional to the pressure. What is a cut-in point? It is a point that makes the controller operated by turning on its switch when the indoor temperature rises. What is a cutout point? It is a point that makes the controller stopped by turning off its switch when the indoor temperature drops. The worker in the video has set cut in to minus 17 degrees Celsius and cut out to minus 14 degrees Celsius. When the hot water reaches 50 degrees Celsius, the high temperature and high pressure refrigerant gas is not sent to the hot water, but discharged to the condenser fan. And when it becomes 45 degrees Celsius, the high temperature and high pressure refrigerant gas is sent back to hot water for the user to use the hot water at the desired temperature. How to use a temperature controller varies depending on the manufacturer, so make sure to check the manufacturer's user manual for the product used. Check again the key points of the task we've worked on in this training. In this training, we have learned how to set the pressure switch and the temperature controller. Everybody, thank you for your hard works.